Okay, guys, this is the second heart video. I'm going to hopefully finish labeling a lot of it. As you can see, I had to change locations because I don't have a desk. I was working on the countertop, and then that was disrupting the whole household. So now I'm in the girls' room because they have a little desk. So anyway, um, what I'd like for you to do is to try to write down the path of blood through the heart if you can. I'm going to type it here so that you can see it. But if you were in the classroom, that's what I would have you do. Like just practice, see if you can come up with how blood flows through the heart, starting with what we learned in the last video, the superior and inferior vena cava. Okay, so it starts there. Then, and I would normally put a little arrow, but we're just going to do a little dash. Okay. I'll do a couple dashes. So we start with the superior and inferior vena cava, and then blood goes into the right atrium. And from the right atrium, blood goes into the right ventricle. And then remember, where does blood have to go? We're using blue here. So blood has to go to the lungs to get oxygen. So it does that. It goes away from the heart. So it is the pulmonary, it's going to lungs, and away is artery. And it goes through the right and the left pulmonary artery. It goes to the lungs, and then it comes back to the heart through the pulmonary veins. And this is where I'm going to switch colors because now it is oxygenated once it's at the lungs. Maybe I should have made the lungs red too, but oh, didn't stay switched. Okay, so pulmonary veins, oop, not burns, veins. And then from the pulmonary veins, it goes into the left atrium, to the left ventricle. And then, of course, it has to go to the entire body. So it does that through the largest artery, which is the aorta, into the body. And then it comes back to the superior vena cava. So, or inferior vena cava, one or the other. And so it's circulatory system. So we end there, but I could keep going and just, I mean, we could copy and paste this, copy, and we could paste it here, make it blue, whatever. And that's just, it's circulatory, right? So that's how it would just continuously keep going. But I would suggest practicing this, writing this down, see if you can get it without cheating and looking at this. Because that will help you when you go to label the heart then also, okay? So let's go back to the heart really quickly, and then I'm going to flip back to this. So I don't know if I can, do I have to stop share and then click share again? Let's see, here we go. Okay, there's probably an easier way to do that, but I don't know what it is. So now blood comes in through the superior and inferior vena cava into the right atrium. It then goes into the right ventricle. We talked about this valve. The valves are there to prevent the backflow of blood. This valve right here is called the tricuspid valve. Where did my text box go? Here we go. So I probably need to change that color. We'll go with blue. And this is the tricuspid valve. Okay, right here, this part right here is the valve. It goes out, blood goes out through the pulmonary artery, through the left and right pulmonary arteries. It comes back in through the pulmonary veins. It goes into the right atrium, or the left atrium, sorry. And then there's this other valve right here. This valve is called the bicuspid valve. So the tricuspid valve, tri means three. It has three parts to it. The bicuspid valve has two parts to it. You may also hear this called the mitral valve. That is a common term for this valve also. Okay, so bicuspid or mitral means this valve in the left, on the left side of the heart. All right. Something else that I want to point out here. This that divides the right and left halves is the septum. This is called the interventricular septum. Inter, if you remember, means between. Ventricular means ventricles. And septum means to divide things. So septum is one of those terms that is not just specific to the heart. It can refer to other things also, but it divides things in half. So you have like a nasal septum that divides your nostrils. And so you have right and left nostrils. The interventricular septum is in the heart between the ventricles, and it divides it there. Okay. These right here, these strings attached to the valve help to open and close it. And they are attached to these muscles here. So 15, those strings, and I'm not going to worry about color anymore. I'm just going to go with it. Actually, maybe I should just make it black. These strings are called chordae tendineae, and you guys are going to have to check my spelling on this. Tendineae, we're gonna have to ask Siri. Okay, we'll see. I'm not really sure if that's spelled correctly, so we'll have to check it. These muscles down here, which you can see them there also, that attach, those are called the papillary muscles. So I'm gonna put that there, papillary muscles. Okay, and somebody check my spelling there. Let's go here. So 5 and 6, these are these little valves, which if I took all this stuff off, yours probably doesn't have all the arrows on it, so you can see it. These are valves in the arteries here that prevent the backflow of blood coming there. And these are called semilunar valves. And lunar obviously refers to the moon, and semi, so they kind of look like half moons, I guess. So this is the pulmonary, because it's on the pulmonary artery right here. Pulmonary semilunar valve, and this one is going to be in the aorta. So this is going to be the aortic semilunar valve right here. Okay. All right. This one right here, I think this is like aortic arch, and number 1 and number 21 are aortic arch and aorta. Okay. I'll click off of here. And then these branches here, can you see? Hang on. Oh, no. Okay, so sorry, kind of got interrupted there. So then we have the aorta splits really, and in the she parts that we're going to dissect, it splits even quicker, but the aorta splits, and then these blood vessels here, these arteries split even more. So that's what forms like this web of arteries and veins that go everywhere. It keeps splitting and splitting and splitting until you get the smallest blood vessels, which are capillaries, and that's actually where the gas exchange occurs. And then it turns into a vein, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and drops it off again. Okay. These, I'm not going to be too particular about these, even when we do our 1-minute hearts, but we can go ahead and label these. This is the brachiocephalic artery here. Brachiocephalic. And this brachio or brachy, if you'll remember, refers to your arm, and cephal, if you know what that word part, that CEPH, cephal, if you've heard of cephalopods, their brains are in their feet. Kind of cool, crazy, right? But brachiocephalic then means arm and head. And so what that does is that takes blood to your right side. I should be going this way, but everything's flipped in reverse, right? To your right arm and the right side of your head. That's eventually going to turn into those major arteries that we have running on either side of our neck, and those are the carotid arteries there. the left side is not, it splits those up. So this is the, right here, this is the left common carotid, and it just goes there. This one, this blood vessel is going to actually split into these two. And then this one is the left subclavian. And these are arteries. The left subclavian, sub means below, and clavian refers to your clavicle. And so that goes below your clavicle and takes that blood to your arm on the left side. Okay, so that we now have finished labeling the heart. Awesome. Now, if I can stop share. All right, hopefully you guys are getting this. Practice, practice, practice.